Let's talk to Ron in Georgia. Go ahead, Ron.
Alex Jones, I've been waiting 3 years to talk to you, son.
Well, here we are.
Here you are. I heard a guy talk about 2 weeks ago about how we are going to be defeated. Bull. We are not going to be defeated. This is how we educate your children.
Well, we know we're going to get defeated if we bend over and say, I'm your slave.
I cried my eyes out last week. My daughter had she's 11 years old.
Oh.
I raised two kids. One's autistic, and my daughter. One's been vaccinated. One hasn't. Okay, my 11-year-old daughter had a paper to write for school. She wrote a paper on having the IRS be gone.
And that's her right as an American to have free speech. What happened?
Oh, no, she got an A.
Oh, good. Well, the teacher's awake then. Good.
Oh, yeah.
So you cried for happiness.
Tell you what, everybody's awake here. Everybody's awake here. She did a paper on Hitler last year. I got called into the principal's office because she exposed that Prescott Bush funded Hitler.
Well, that was in the New York Times. What, she's not allowed to report on that?
Well, they wanted to know, the principal wanted to know where she got her information from. And I said, well, she got it from me. She got it from the Internet. It's right there. And principal said, well, you know, I have a doctorate. Big deal. And I said, well, you know, apparently you've been reading the wrong books, woman. You know, I didn't know what else to say. The other thing...
Well, let me give her sources then. The McCormick-Dickstein Committee of Congress, the books written by a Marine Corps General Smedley Butler, the New York Times, whatever the Newark, New Jersey paper is, BBC. In fact, let's just do this right now. Bush's grandfather worked for Nazis. You'll get BBC, everything else. I mean, it's an absolute fact. Members of his bank were arrested. He got out of it narrowly because it went so high into Cum Loeb and other companies that...
The USO or something?
Yeah, there it is. The London Guardian. Well, here, let's read this for the teacher. I mean, the moron principal could figure this out, but they've got a doctorate, which means they know how to be a moron. It goes on. Hal Bush's grandfather helped Hitler's rise to power. So, I mean, there's the London Guardian. I mean, I don't know what they want. So how did this end with the principal?
Oh, well, I'm on the no talk list, but whatever. As an aside, Alex, before you let me go, Neal Boortz, which is one of the biggest putzes in the world, last Friday, December 11th, called for an economic refugee camp because he does not want to live next to poor people.
And that's what Schwarzenegger's doing. He now arrests the homeless people, even if they're in their own little camper. I mean, people get bankrupt. They get a little camper. They're living in it at a city park, driving around, even with jobs. They come arrest you, take it, laugh at you. At night, you get locked up in these poorhouses. And the same thing in Hawaii.
Alex, it's happening in front of people's faces, and they can't see it.
But see, Neal Boortz, next it'll be, let's make them work in these work camps. And you got to love how Neal Boortz pushes a national sales tax, which is what the UN wants. Again, no, we don't need more taxes. See, they're going to keep the income tax and give us his flat fair tax. I appreciate your call. Yeah, I was at Ground Zero interviewing victims of 9/11. And this big guy walks over and starts poking me. It's online. That's Neal Boortz. Because I'm like 5'10". And he's like probably about 6'6". He's towering. I love it when big guys think it intimidates you. All it makes me want to do is attack them. And they start hanging over you, getting in your face. and you're sitting there, and he starts cussing at me. I'm not going to repeat it here on air, obviously. And I said, why don't you come on and debate me? And he said, no, you got to pay me money to debate you. You got to pay me money. I'm all about money. I'm a conservative. No, what you are is a fake conservative whore for the New World Order. And look, it's not my job to sit here and attack Neal Boortz and people, but I heard that guy 6, 7, 8 years ago. He's been on Austin a long time, saying that there's no New World Order, no world government. And I heard him say I was a liar about Operation Northwoods, and he said it didn't exist when it was in ABC News, Baltimore Sun, and is declassified. No, you're the liar, Mr. Boortz. Now, years later, he admitted it later. But I'm not the liar. Do I make mistakes sometime? Yes. You know, I was once on KTSA in San Antonio talking about 9/11 being an inside job. And it was one of the Ware pair, the son, what Trey Ware. And he said, Alex, he goes, I think you're, a good person. He said, and I believe you're sincere, but you better hope you're right about 9/11 because you got God to answer to if you're up here saying the government did 9/11 and you're wrong. And I appreciated that, not criticism, but that honest challenge. Because when I sat back, I was in New York at the time. I was on a cell phone doing a Texas interview. I sat back and I reflected and I thought about it for a few days. And I thought, yeah, I feel good about what I've said and done. I've told the truth. I mean, no one can look at the evidence of 9/11 and say that was guys from a cave in Afghanistan. Give me a break, folks. And I have to tell the truth. That's all I've got is my integrity. Does that mean I'm perfect? No. But, I mean, I try to be a good person. I try to tell the truth. I try to be moral. I try to be upstanding. There's a lot of people out there think being evil and lying is cute. They think being evil's tough. And I can stand before God from what I've done. I'm proud of myself.